At the end of the 60s, a young couple, Guy and Rosemary, move into an apartment in the big city. Guy is an unknown actor who, despite repeated failure, is still waiting for his breakout role. Obsessed by fame, Guy strikes a deal with the devil. In return for success as an actor, he allows Satan to conceive a child in his wife's womb. After the diabolical ritual has been consummated, Rosemary can't remember anything, and she is excited to learn that she is pregnant. 9 months later, after she gives birth, Rosemary is told that her child has not survived. In the last scene of the film, Rosemary hears a baby crying. The noise leads her to the apartment next door, where the birth of Satan's child is being celebrated. Kitchen knife in hand, Rosemary approaches the black cradle. One of the guests at this celebration is Elmer Maudlin. For years, Elmer has been trying his luck as an actor in Hollywood, but he's only given parts as an extra. In Rosemary's Baby, his name doesn't even appear in the credits. One day, 40 years later, hundreds of photographs, letters, and other objects that belonged to Elmer Maudlin and his family turned up next to a garbage container outside number 3, Calle Pez, in downtown Madrid. That same evening, walking down that same street, I found the story of the Maudlins lying on the sidewalk like a jigsaw puzzle. This is how, just by chance, it fell into my hands, the hands of a stranger, who would piece it together just as he pleased. Margaret Marley was born into a wealthy North Carolina family. From a very early age, she displayed an artistic temperament that clashed with the conservative conventions of her surroundings. Her dream was to travel to Europe. Elmer Maudlin returned from World War II, eager to become a famous actor. Here he poses dressed as a sailor in front of battleships painted in a photography studio. Margaret and Elmer met in an amateur theater group and soon became inseparable. Margaret's family disapproved of the relationship. To them, Elmer was a loser with no future. Margaret disowned her family and eloped with Elmer to Los Angeles. One Sunday in the spring, they were secretly married. Elmer immediately began making the rounds of the Hollywood studios, but his career never got off the ground. This is the only photograph that shows him as an actor. It's as if he tried to wipe out all traces of his failure. While Elmer went from badly paid commercials to small roles in TV movies, Margaret began her studies in fine art. In those early years, she devoted herself to sculpture, and what seemed like a hobby at first soon became the focal point of her life. This book was a birthday present from Elmer. The Notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci. On the first page, there is a prophetic dedication. To dear sweet Margaret, who will someday equal this great man with her works, Elmer. Nelson Maudlin was born in 1952. His first name was actually Elmer, like his father's. Elmer Nelson Maudlin. Nelson was a cheerful-looking child with a fragile air, and Margaret doted on him. From the time he was little, she made him pose as if he were the movie star her husband had never managed to become. In the studio photos, Nelson's gaze turns cold and defiant. When Nelson was a teenager, his father finally landed a part in a big production. Despite her horrifying discovery, Rosemary, frozen next to the black cradle, hesitates for an instant, and in an unexpected final twist, is unable to spurn her child. In this brief instant, inside a work of fiction, Elmer Maudlin, lost within himself, thinks about his own life and wonders what will happen to the devil's baby when it grows up. Then suddenly, he raises his eyes and sees Mia Farrow, encircled by lights, rocking a cradle that is, in fact, empty. Sometime later, Elmer takes his family to a photography studio to sit for a portrait. Elmer looks at Nelson, who looks at Margaret, who looks defiantly into the camera. This is the last image of them in America. And then the Maudlins disappear. Elmer and Margaret run away with their son to a distant land where no one knows them and where they don't speak the language. The first thing they do when they get to Spain is look for an apartment where they can shut themselves away. It is at this point, in this dark flat in the center of Madrid, that they begin the strange project that will occupy them until they die. The Maudlins always keep the windows and shutters closed, only opening them to perform an unusual ritual. Nelson is always seen in the same corner next to the window. He poses according to his mother's commands. As the years go by, Nelson seems increasingly detached, as opposed to his parents' enthusiasm.